Welcome back, everybody, to the final game before our lunch break. You see, I am getting a love note written to me. Hi, Matt. All right. Well, hello to both of these players as well. We've got Will Anderson and Conrad Bassett-Bouchard. Will dominating this tournament 11-0, and Conrad Bassett-Bouchard currently in third. He and several other players have 9-2 records, but the highest spread going to Conrad. So Conrad looking for a big win. He was on a 9-game win streak. He dropped his first game, won 9 straight games, and just lost last round to Wellington Jagiri of Nigeria. Will Anderson obviously on a win streak of his own, winning all 11 games so far here. Excited to watch this matchup as well. Conrad sent me a Facebook message just before this game began saying, hey, please don't forget to remind the stream how rusty I am and that I haven't studied in 6 months and that I'm exhausted physically and emotionally from work right now. But anytime Conrad talks about how bad he is or how poor he's going to play, he's going to drop a superb game down. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens here. Will play first ABEEILP on his rack, and Beleap, I believe, likely to be the play here. 26 points, BELEAP. Although maybe if he opts to hold onto an additional consonant instead of a vowel, we might see the 6-letter Bailey, BAILEE. Let's see. Yep, here comes Beleap. That's going to set up fun extension opportunities as well. A nice find and a standard play to open things off for Will. Conrad now, DHIIOOJ is his rack, and he'll look to score that J for points. He has a really fun way to do so as Jihadi plays through the A in Beleap. But Jihadi, of course, takes a back S. Shan, is that a play you could see yourself making?
No, I probably wouldn't play Jihadi with the risk of the S hook coming down on it, but you can see why it would be tempting. But Haji or Jihad alone would probably be okay. The issue here is what does his leave what is his leave going to look like, and that's the tough part. I'm wondering whether Dojo or there'd be something like that could do an equivalent job. I'd be concerned to set up a S hook on the double word score. Um, but I also noticed that Will's opening turn, he was one letter off from plebeian, so doesn't look like any of the plays in this game between the two will be plebeian plays.
Absolutely not. Conrad Jihadi, of course, 34 points, holds 0-0 and 1 space short of a double word. Haji or Jihad holding terribly. IOO would be the leaves there. Dojo above or below Beleap, making DA and OP, or AD and PO, opening up a dangerous S hook and holding HII. Conrad could also look to hold on to his J here. An appropriate play given the state of America, opioid could also come down from the P in Beleap, or another option to keep the J, Hoodia, Hoodia, would play to the A, as Conrad repping a Hoodia of his own and his favorite baseball team, the San Francisco Giants. Shan, would you keep the J here maybe, or would you play it off in one of those other plays?
Yeah, I think the option of playing Dojo, despite having two eyes, is still appealing to me. I think part of the reason for that is that it does create an H spot, good H spot, so that might be appealing to me. Um, the option of playing Jihad as well does also create another H spot that could be useful. So either of those two options look okay to me. Actually, Jihad would burn the H, that would be less useful. But I think Dojo is my operative choice here. Going with Haji, HADJI, keeping IOI might be my second choice after that.
Conrad also considering HIOI, a nice Valgaunt playing in two different spots. It plays underneath the leap in two different ways. You can make EHAI and PO off to the right side for 19 points, or play it over to the left, making BI and yeah, there's several places to play that, but it's a moot point. Conrad going to play Haji here, the volatile IOO leave on his rack, but just faced with several poor options, and this is the one he's opted to play. He'll need some consonants on this pull, as Will now pulls both V's on his post Bleep draw, AEINOVV. He's got the nice Evove, EVOVAE, a word I'm sure many players here know can also be spelled with two U's in place of those V's, EUOUAE. That plays down to the second E in Bleep for 25. Will could also opt to keep things tighter. VOE in the same spot holds AEINV, rather bingo prone leave. Shan, between Evove for 25 and VOE for 19, which play do you prefer?
Yeah, I like Evolve. I feel like part of it is you whenever you have opportunities to play it, it doesn't come down that many times. I mean, certainly it's spelled with the two U's or it's spelled with the V's. I'm thinking about this and liking what it does overall. I think from a leave perspective, it accomplishes what I needed to do. It scores decently. And after this, I start to feel a little bit more optimistic about my rack because then, I think, okay, well, these are all letters that will be helpful and complementary to the leave that I have. So why not have them, create opportunity on the board, and as at the same time, stretching the board open and leaving me opportunities. And for Will, who's a strong player, the more opportunity there is, the more he's going to attack and damage his opponent.
And Will with a great pull. He's drawn into routine after that. Conrad, I think, with a straightforward decision here, EIOOOSW, but he's got one great option out of this. He's drawn the S to hook Haji, and here it comes. Woos, WOOSE, is 41 points. Far and away the best option here for Conrad, but he will get bingoed back on as routine going to be dropped down by Will. He's got to decide where to play routine. Both on top of and underneath the W in woos makes sense, but he can also play it back hooking B leap with his T, be leapt, for 70 points. So 71 beneath the W, making WE, 70 with be leapt, or 69 above the W in woos. Each of those look like reasonable options to me. Shan, are you more worried about knocking out the S hook on B leap, or would you score points here?
I like the sneaky T hook on Belief and using that spot. I think you kind of have to look at how the rest of the letters fall in terms of where they place your vowels. Routine does put an O next to a triple letter score. He's choosing to go with the WE spot. I think that's just as good. There's really, I think that's pretty much an A versus A1 set of choices there. I personally would have liked to see the B Leap get T hooked.
And now Conrad with a great pull of his own DEGINOR. His highest scoring bingo through the V in Evove is Dovering for 84 points. Its anagram Ring Dove also plays for 80, setting up a huge S opportunity. He'll also have a number of other bingos playing on top of woos, something like groined or ignored, making EWE and DO. All good options for Conrad. I think you've got to play Dovering despite slotting the G in the triple triple. Do you agree, Shan?
I think that it's not absolutely a bad thing if Ring Dove gets played either. I mean, like basically right now we're talking about a lot of volatility, a lot of opportunity on this board, but looks like he's spotted Dovering, which is great because that word is something that not every player will immediately see it. Because sometimes you see so many sevens to be choosing from. that you might just put down ignored or one of the other anagrams. And I think it's nice that he's seen that. But the G in the triple line is a bit of a threat. It will not necessarily be the a big score immediately for Will, but now this looking at how this board is continued now from stretching vertically, now stretching horizontally, it means that we're looking at increasingly complex choices because there's so many spaces on the board to play.
And yeah, complex, definitely going to be a complex turn for Will here. It's a good way to put it. He's got many scoring options. He's pulled 6 consonants, but those 2 S's and that K going to give him a lot of opportunity. FUSK plays through the U in routine, keeping a nice IPRS leave, scoring a juicy 32 points. Frisk and Woozes, also a solid option. FRISK for 41, holding PS. Or he can keep things smaller and tighter. KEF through the E in Evove, playing for 31, holding PIRSS, and a good option for a setup play, Spiff, SPIF, underneath routine, making IF, sets up that S and scores 38 points. I think in this situation, I like my S setup. I like that play of Spiff quite a bit, but Will opting to play Frisk here. Not sure if he rushed this or saw the play and elected to grab more points now, maybe trying not to get too cute. But Frisk going to be the decision here for Will. 41 points puts him ahead 163 to 157 to his countryman Conrad. AEILNRR, the pull for Conrad, and he will be able to bingo yet again this turn. Highest scoring option, clear and away best play from the G, Gnarlier. And I don't expect to see Conrad spend much more time here before Gnarlier comes down.
Yeah, and for both the last turn, I do like Frisk. I think that's what I would have played just because the leave is good, it scores well. I think it does create another S spot as so would Spiff, but it creates an S spot that could be good for 5-letter words. So I don't mind Frisk at all. Gnarlier now looks like it means that S is going to be very important because a lot of that right quadrant of the board, at least at the top, is now getting a little bit more controlled, whereas at the bottom there's lots of opportunity, potential things that could play out depending on who plays what first. And I think for Will, he's looking at a very bingo prone rack.
Yeah, Will with the bingo prone rack, no options available to bingo out of this rack, but he will have a number of interesting plays. WEEP from the WE at the bottom of the board sets up front hooks S and T, as well as a dangerous P line. That's a good way to keep this board open for quite a while if you're Will. I don't know that he's down enough to make a desperation play like that. POME plays through the O in Evove, holds the wonderful ENST. 30 points ENST looks like a great option. He also has a double available, Temenos, TEMENOS, through the O in Evove. All of those look like great options. And yet, despite what he chooses, he's going to get hit very hard as Conrad's play of Gnarlier sets up an enormous Z spot, and Conrad immediately on cue pulling the Z to crush that spot. So we'll see what Will decides to do here. Of course, with the knowledge he's going to get punished with the 64-point or 66-point Z play, Weep would be probably the best option to keep him in this game, but he can't know that that's about to happen. I expect him to play Poem underneath Dovering in this situation.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, he doesn't really have any plays up on off the A and Gnarlier that would you expect him to play over there. I do like Weep. I think Weep does exactly what you said. Like it creates the hooks, it opens the line. It's a beautiful leave after Weep. The point sacrifice compared to say something like Temenos, if he sees Temenos, is I think reasonable enough that you would opt for Weep. But it looks like he's looking at Poem, and that from his vantage point, it looks solid. But if he falls into a bigger deficit after a Z play, he might not feel so great about Pome because of what it does to some of the lines.
And I'll get in this fight over and over with people because this tournament is being held on American soil. The last letter of the alphabet on this stream is a Z. I know Shan representing Canada, we'll call it a Z. Most of y'all viewing from overseas call it a Z. I will continue to call it a Z in this tournament over and over. I've already converted my temperatures to Celsius as a courtesy, but that's as much as you're getting. It is a Z all tournament, as Will doing exactly what I thought he would. Pome, a very logical, rational play, and Conrad going to have a lot of points next turn. The Z-Bomb, very enticing alongside Gnarlier. He could also play Zebra through the RN routine for 72, ZO or ZOA playing for 64, NAZE for 66. And chat also pointing out some cool options that were just blocked, including T-Box through that O. Shan, do you think he's going to play tight, drop the bomb on the right side next to Gnarlier, or do you think a longer play like Zebra is more appropriate here?
I think he's going to play Zebra. Zebra does create a nest hook at the bottom and another spot, but I think it also kind of addresses the front hooks for the words that can be played through the R, like in the similar spot, like for a 5-letter word and so forth. So I think just in terms of turning over a few more tiles, potentially drawing into some good hooks and so forth. It's better to play off that than necessarily keep playing Zoe and keeping BAXTE, because I feel like with that you'd kind of have some question marks around whether or not you're going to continue to be able to score that well with that synergy. Whereas Zebra, you keep TOX and you get kind of more refreshing more of your rack. In this case, I think either way, Will is going to come back with a bingo. So it's going to be hard to tell which was the most optimal, but that's pretty close. It's pretty close, but I would pick Zebra.
I know Conrad's game better than most people. Conrad is a defensive player first and foremost, and in a driver's seat like this with the big advantage, I expect Zoa to come down. Here it is. Yeah, I don't think Conrad wants to set up that big S spot with 2 unseen S's. He'd rather have a little bit more control of the board. So Conrad making a play that I think many players would not make, but this is actually going to work out hugely in his favor, as he's not giving up Satinet on Will's next draw. And instead, Will's going to have to settle for a smaller scoring bingo. Tetanize, T-E-T-A-N-I-S-E, plays to the E in Evove, and In-State plays at the bottom of the board, backhooking Frisk with an A, Friska. In-State, 81, Tetanize, 79. And I think Will opting for the option that gives maybe fewer points back in the short run of Tetanize. Beintux, the poll now for Conrad, and he will be able to cash the X after cashing the Z last turn. Ibex, I-B-E-X, plays underneath Tetanize for 48 points, does string an I in a triple-triple with 2 unseen blanks to Conrad. I don't know that we'll see him make that play. We may see XU come down either above routine or on top of the IN in Dovering. I'm not sure that we're going to see anything else except perhaps exit beneath Tetanize with 4 underlaps, T-E, E-X, T-I, and A-T. Ibex, 48, exit, 36, and both of the, or exit 46, and either of the XU plays scoring 38 here. Shan, do you have a preference here?
Yeah, that's kind of a tough question. I mean, I kind of think intuitively I'd play in the top left, play Ibex under Tetanize, but now that I'm seeing Will's rack, I'm very very biased, and it's biased to my thinking. It's hard to say what I would have actually done, because now we're thinking, okay, well, there's going to be something in his word knowledge to see that. But if I was just in Conrad's position and didn't have that information, of course, then I think I'm still going with Ibex in the top left.
I don't expect to see Conrad make that play. I think maybe exit for the extra turnover, trying to draw one of those two blanks looks to be a reasonable option. Doesn't get hit too hard by counter plays as TI has no front hooks. XU looks standard as well. And I think that's what we're going to go with here. XU, of course, we know that Conrad will not be able to pull either of the blanks, as Will has picked up both DDHIY blank blank. And he will have high scoring bingos, dihybrid or dihydric, scoring for 94 points, plays through the R in routine, drops the Y or drops the H on that triple letter score. Massive plays available now for Will. He could also consider a really neat play, Hydrid, HYDRID, for 44 in the same spot, holding both blanks, throwing this board open and opening a triple option. Will we see Hydrid for 44 or Dihybrid for 94? Wow.
Well, this is where it's gut check time for a player of Will's caliber finding dihybrid. I wouldn't say anything is out of the question of what he can find and so forth, but with two blanks, there's a lot of like mental work to do to see words. If either they jump out at you right away, or you have to go through all sorts of possibilities. He does have the time to do so, but there's so much that has to be considered, and whether he's already seen it and now he's just pondering what will be the best choice, or whether he's still trying to find the word. We're going to find out. And but if any of these options or bingos comes down, it just demonstrates a very high level of skill, because I think lots of players would not know these words or be able to see them, especially with two blanks, in order to do the work of seeing all the different possibilities.
Shan, I'm going to throw a question your way. After the play of Hydrid, HYDRID, how many points do you think Will averages on the next play? Chat, you play along as well. If you're quackling, don't cheat. After Hydrid, holding blank blank for 44, what is Will's average score next turn?
Well, average, I guess, depends on how frequently he bingos. So if there are some bad tiles in the pool that prevent bingoings from occurring, reduces the chances. So maybe I'll say, 55.
Chat playing along as well. You guys are all playing the Price is Right. Every single one of you too low with your guess. The answer, 89 points on average, including 79% to bingo. So Hydrid winning a sim here. That's wild. But Will opting to play the bingo instead. A very standard play, Dihybrid coming down. 94 points for him will put him ahead 366 to 339. And Conrad is going to have a huge counterplay. Niqab plays with ID, QI, AH, and BY for 79. So this was Will's plan, and Will's plan to backfire immensely on him.
Wow, that's quite something. Earlier in the game, we saw Haji come down. Now we're seeing Niqab come down. So a lot of words that originate in Arabia are coming onto this board to make a big difference in the game. But certainly, after making such a beautiful word as dihybrid, to be able to be hit back with a big Q play, let alone one of that order of magnitude, it's going to hurt. It's really going to hurt. And whether or not Will can recover from that, with the remaining tiles is going to be the question mark here. So let's see what happens.
Not sure Conrad has seen Niqab yet. If he sees it with the 4 overlaps, that's an insta play. So maybe he only sees it with AD. and BI, and now debating whether he plays QI in the bottom. But if Conrad fails to spot the 4 overlap, that is a big miss and gives Will life in a game where Conrad should be slamming the door shut on this turn. Oh no. Oh no, and he's missed it. Wow.
He's not yet hit his clock. He's giving some further consideration. Seems to be struggling with this, but yeah, definitely seems as he's not observed Niqab. Certainly not the 4 overlap version, but I think even the less optimal positioning would still be the choice, just from a defense perspective. If but he's um, seemed to whiff on that. He has a great leave, that being said, but wow, Will just dodged a bullet.
Wow, that is uncharacteristic from a player of Conrad's caliber, though again, he'd like me to remind everybody he is rusty, he hasn't studied in 6 months, he is physically and emotionally exhausted with his job, but uncharacteristic mistake, and that's going to give Will a big counterplay. Telco, Telco, with 4 overlaps, plays in the same spot that Niqab would have fit. That'll be 44 points for Will, and will bring him back ahead in this game. What a swing. Will with the 94 point, both blank bingo, Conrad with the whiff, and now Will likely to pull back ahead in this game.
Yeah, here in Canada, we don't have enough competition among our telcos. And here, telco is going to make the competition very stiff.
Yeah, that's also tough to spot with the 4 overlaps. Perhaps looking for just 5-letter words down ending in a vowel to play alongside the D for Will, but telco also looks to be an insta play if you see it.
In the chat, Phil adds, anyone can miss anything on stream. It's a pressurized environment, especially at this level. Very true, Phil. We do know that this is the highest level caliber. It's a lot of pressure, no matter whether when you're not playing on stream. And there's so much to think about, so much to go through, just to be able to kind of operate your brain at the level to compete. So we don't fault any of the players for not quite seeing every single play. I mean, it's very different when you're outside of that bubble. Now, inside the bubble, Will finds Telco, and he's scoring very well. So looks like we're in for a doozy of a finish.
So Telco to come down for 44. Will now leads 410 to 391. We'll display the unseen pool to those of you at home. There are now, after Telco, 18 tiles in unseen to Conrad, 11 in the bag, and we'll have what looks to be a tight and dicey endgame. Conrad does have nice plays available. BLAW, each fit beneath Tetanize for 36 points. Hold a balanced leave. I think in this situation, BLAW looks to be a nice play. It sets up the E for Ada plays above it, and it plays off an A with 3 more to be drawn. Not sure what else to think about in this situation. Holding an A for Friska might be something Conrad looks to do here. The S for Frisks or the Y for Frisky, also big opportunities for Will on the board. But Blah comes down, very standard play for Conrad. I think it makes a lot of sense and saves some of that time for what might be a tough pre-endgame situation. Conrad dodged a bullet as Will draws very poorly after Telco. MINORUU. And with 7 tiles now in the bag for Will, he'll need to figure out what he feels gives him the best chance to win this game. No A's, no S's, no Y's for Will, meaning that back hook to Frisk is something he can't really address. He has to expect Conrad to hit that spot. So does Will need to open up this board, play like Rimu, RIMU, above Tetanize, REWIT, MA, and UN makes sense? Umu in that same spot will also open a second spot on this board. Or maybe a word like rumbo through the B in blah gives Will some life as well. But I think if you're Will here, a terrible draw, a lot of good stuff unseen, a lot of points may be coming for Conrad. What is the best way to keep my rack flexible and dynamic to guarantee I can score now and later and make sure Conrad doesn't slam the door shut with the big play beneath Frisk next turn? This is a really tough turn for Will. I wonder how much time he spends here and what he ends up doing. I don't think I have the bandwidth to analyze this. I'm just excited to watch.
Yeah, I kind of like Umu here. It looks precarious throwing up that lane and everything, but the thing is that he has an O for Oma. His opponent probably doesn't. Therefore, the opponent really has to start with a letter in front of the UT or the UN in order to make a play. So the opponent is a little more restricted than Will might be playing in that spot, and he has to score some points, and by unloading the two U's, he's increasing his flexibility of his rack. So it's dangerous, it's risky, but there's other possible things that can happen on this board. So if you're relying on the hope that your opponent's not going to come up with something gigantic, then I think that's a great way to go. And what has Will drawn into here? Is that C? Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be a very close end game here with Conrad's very common letters. It doesn't appear that he has Insta Bingo. Is that right, Matt?
Conrad cannot bingo here. Will crucially has drawn Oriency for 106 playing atop. So if Conrad does not play on the top of this board, Will to bingo for 106 and win this game with certainty. This is a huge turn for Conrad. He can't bingo. There are 4 in the bag. Will has just blown this board open. How will Conrad respond? Oriency doesn't look all that likely, but ing opportunities in that bag, there are a lot of bingos that could be played. I have no idea what's about to happen, but a failure to block up top means Will's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think that with the two A's there, the Ama hook, it's pretty likely that Conrad will end up playing there. But what to play is a tough decision because you're trying to keep your rack flexible. You're trying to manage the tempo of the remaining tiles. And that being said, it's a very close game where you want to score points and all of that. So. Uh, a really tricky decision. I don't really know what I would play. And this is really where players who have strong 4s and 5-letter word knowledge could do well, because they may be able to come up with the more optimal overlaps of Umu.
Conrad with a reasonable looking play, WETA from the WE at the bottom, 21 points. AENST is a nice pull, but he's got to figure out what loses me the game. A bingo on top, and I'm absolutely dead. Do I have to gamble that Will doesn't have it? Plays with Frisks or Frisky or Friska are huge threats at the bottom as well. So if I block up top, will I have scored enough points to outrun plays at the bottom? He could consider a long play at the top, a word like ansate, ANSATE. But if he makes that, Will maybe can outrun. Will likely to go out before Conrad unless Conrad draws an outplay that Will can't block or an outplay that would play in 2 spots. This is a really tough turn for Conrad. He's likely looking to play either exactly 2 tiles, leave 2 in the bag and make things difficult for Will, or as many tiles as he possibly can to try to guarantee outplays next turn for him. Ansate at the top, making AMA and in would put Conrad ahead by 18 points. But he would have to have a great pull to win the end game after a play like that.
Yeah, that would take a lot of cojones to make that kind of a play. I think I would expect him to probably play shorter. As you mentioned, Wita does look kind of an appealing play from a leaf perspective. It opens the lane. You kind of think, okay, maybe I can manage. Just feels more, intuitive for I think many players to keep those common letters and still while scoring some points. But the fact is that spot at the top is really dangerous, and even any kind of scores there. So do you want to predicate your game on being able to bingo again, or do you want to just make the board a little more restricted, leave it up to your opponent to make a good play, and then have a fight to the finish with whatever's left. So I think maybe a short play up top is what we'll see. I don't necessarily think that he'll use the 6 tiles for Ansate. I think that if he plays that, that's really uh, impressive just to have the guts to do it. But I'm thinking more something along the lines of ant or at or maybe a 4-letter word.
The chat also recommending Friska and AT. Friska does take a back S, Conrad holding the last S in this game. That would do what he wants to do in this situation, leave 2 in the bag, score some points now, open up big opportunities for him next turn. And yet, of course, we know with the incredible pull from Will of Oriency that play likely to lose the game for Conrad. I wonder what he could pull at the bottom, if anything, maybe Agnates. I don't think that would score quite enough to come back and win this game. Oh man, this is tense.
Yeah, again, it'll probably be a very close margin if it plays out that way, where he plays 2 tiles, gets bingoed against, and then and then has a response bingo. What he pulls and what's left over on Will's rack, whether there's any mathematical way to play one that wins him the game. I think it's quite possible because a Friska with an S bingo in that lane is probably like a good 80-point plus bingo. So that combined with tiles on Will's rack might be able to make up a margin if just enough. So, but the thing is, the problem is that we are so deep into this Endgame. It's just so hard to know for sure.
So Conrad, if he plays Friska and AT and draws Agnates, would win the game, but he has to draw exactly Agnates in order to win. That's the only option with the pull. Conrad, other potential bingos to draw after Oriency are Fanegas, but he'd have to play off both T's to do that, or Gangsta, but he'd have to play off his E to do that. That would be rather gangsta. So Conrad playing TANA atop, what a difficult situation. He will crucially block the play of Oriency and will now looking to do what he can. He has a wonderful play, COREY, plays above routine, making CUT, EWE, and YO. Will looking to go out and 2 and win this game. He'll have a number of ways to do that. And this game is likely to be Will's. He'll need to go out in 2, but I think he will.
Yeah, that seems like a straightforward play for Will to find. That spot is not going to be lost on him. The word is going to be very easy to locate because the spot also sort of creates it. So once he does see that and work out the points and the odds, I think we're going to like to see that come down. And it gives a really great, straightforward way to go out in the following turn. So looks like it'll be tough for Conrad to lose this game where he's played so well. Really, like you can't fault him on anything really. Just one little miss on Mikab, but I think it was a good score anyway with QI and keeping a good lead, and it just played out in such a way that once again, Will, who's been on this streak the whole tournament undefeated, Looks like he's going to get to that 12th game with another victory. And he's looking at Coyer right now, which I don't quite see where he's looking. Maybe he's looking on the.
Frisky.
Oh, Frisky. Okay. Right.
I think he's looking to knock out perhaps Fetas and Friska, plays like that would score very well for Conrad. He'll have a number of ways to win this game, either addressing that spot or outrunning those plays. But I think we turn back that one humongous miss from Conrad. Nicob alongside Die Hybrid, I believe it was 80 points. I put the blank in the wrong spot on my Quackle, but 80-pointer instead opting for the QI bomb. And I think that's going to end up costing Conrad this game. But what a good one. Back and forwards. Conrad with a commanding lead early and Will sneaking it out late.
Yeah, it's interesting. Niqab being in a vertical overlap with dihybrid potentially. Wonder how many words can be overlapped with Niqab with those 4 tiles on that side. Dihybrid is probably one of the most interesting ones that provides that opportunity. So maybe we won't see something quite in that formation for some time, but definitely was a critical juncture of the game. Just the find of dihybrid so beautiful. The debate between hybrid and dihybrid certainly a really interesting one, and you wowed me when you mentioned how the keeping the 2 blanks averages 89. What did you say? Point bingos. So that's really remarkable in and of itself. So really this game has been quite well played, and just Will being at the kind of sharp tip-top apex of his game in this tournament is continuing to make it so that the margin of error is very slim for his opponents. Coyer comes down with Frisky, and now that seems to limit any options for Conrad as he tries to make some solid play, and Newsroom has very many time to think, is there anything he can do? But it looks like the options for Will to go out are too numerous and too good.
I don't know what that was from Conrad. He turns around for a minute, maybe crying briefly, and then comes back chuckling. Definitely not one to cry over a game, is Conrad. His best sequence here is fewest through the WE for 36, though he likely wants to gag after this game. That'd be his leave, as he gave it away with the big knee cob miss. Otherwise, awesome game to watch. Really cool stuff. I know chat perhaps liked the zebra play more than Zoa. I'll stand by Zoa. I liked that, but Niqab a pivotal miss as Will to move to a ridiculous 12-0 in a tournament where the best players in the world flown from across the globe to get here. That's incredible. This is the World Scrabble Championship, a 32-game Scrabble tournament. This is round 12 currently. Will Anderson with the win here will move up to 12-0. Conrad Bassett-Bouchard to slide out of third place with a loss, dropping to 9-3. We will have a lunch break after this round. Action set to resume at 2:30 Pacific time, 5:30 Eastern time. You can do the time zone conversion yourself, but that is about 80 minutes from right now. So for those of you watching at home, make sure Conrad, or make sure you stick around to the end of this game. I'm pulling my soapbox out one more time. This is the marquee Scrabble tournament of the year. This event only happens every 2 years. And do me a favor, spread this link around on all your social media. Put it, all over the place. Send it out to everybody. I want a bunch of people watching competitive Scrabble. The more people we get on this stream, the higher the Twitch algorithm pushes us up, then the more people we end up seeing in this stream. I want as many people as possible watching Scrabble now, because maybe in a few weeks, a few months, or a few years, we'll see them wander out to a Scrabble club or tournament. My goal is for Scrabble to be bigger and better than ever in the year 2040, and you can help us with that. So share the link to the live stream, to the annotated games, to the tournament results. You can help us make Scrabble bigger and better than it's ever been before. I'm commentator Matt Canik. I have no vested interest or monetization in this stream. I just love Scrabble and want people to keep playing it. I want to thank Shan Abbasi of Mississauga, Toronto, Canada, for joining us on stream today. Shan, thank you so much for the late notice and the flexibility, helping me fill the gaps that suddenly emerged in our coverage. Thank you so much, Shan.
My pleasure. Great to be here. Great to witness this high level of play, and get to weigh in a little bit on what I would do. I'm loving the chat and how engaged everyone is, sharing some of the thoughts they have on what some of these plays should be. And sometimes we don't have the right answers. We try our best to analyze, and your inputs are just as valid here. And here's Conrad. Doing what I'm thinking, which is, what if I just throw some things down? What would be funny here? Yeah. So he's going with fate here, reasonably. So
that's hilarious. I'm excited to announce to everybody at home that this afternoon I'll have just one of the all-time awesome Scrabble people joining me on commentator. That is Jeff Teveno. So if you know Jeff, I've pulled him out of the woodwork to get some analysis and commentary. Super excited to reconnect with Jeff. He was my tournament or my club director in Austin, Texas for many years before he was stolen away. We're going to go to overhead mic now.
Insane. I mean, you drew Orient C.
I did.
Come on.
It's true. Damn. This is ridiculous.
I mean, I probably made a mistake. I don't know.
The big question is, did you think of the A hook on Frisk at any point?
Oh yeah. So when I played, if you hadn't played Zoa, if you hadn't played here, I was gonna play Box, saving ZOEA and Zoa.
Okay.
I actually put the A out on my rack to show I was setting up both of them. But
so you saw it, and
yeah, I was not 100% sure.
Yeah, but you would play it if you have Zoe as for a billion.
Yeah, I kept EST. It's the wrong rack.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But I must have screwed up that game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't seem like it. It seems like if you just have a scoring tile to play up there, you're gonna win.
Well, I don't know. I guess we may as well look at it. Should I have? I was worried. So at first, the Y was what I had mistracked. So
I had Orient C. Yeah. That's unseen to you.
So ST.
So, oh my God.
It was just like the worst possible draw. I mean, not the worst. You know what I mean? Like the most unfortunate.
Yeah, you just need a scoring tile, and you're gonna hammer the spot every time.
So I was thinking like Weta, but I think I have to block this, right?
Yeah, Orient C is. I mean, there's enough in here probably that you have to block up there. There's plenty of bingos up there.
Yeah.
Bog-ear, nag-ear, Orient C, ing words. There's a lot.
Yeah.
You got to play up there. So the only question is,
I was thinking like
longer word. But then you're drawing three.
Like I feel like I need to keep the.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
At least threaten to play with Frisk.
Yeah. Like I thought about keeping an A for here and playing TANE. I mean, obviously that wouldn't have worked very well for me, but
God damn, what do you even do? I mean, if you're gonna. Anna seems fine. I'm trying to imagine, like, do you have any hope after, like, Stain or something with that just a few extra points, but that's not, you're not going to get as many points on your next turn.
Yeah. And I was trying to see, like, is there a way could I play 3 here? Like, there's still another A out. Like, I could play Tan, but...
Right, well, you're just losing to Orient C pretty much every time.
Right.
Oh, no?
No, because I can't if I don't empty the bag.
True, yeah, that's true.
But I didn't see, mistake.
Yeah.
I just jeez. And the thing,
Yeah,
so
you
here's the other thing: is
lose
you
this.
just played Umu, so like the odds of you having the Y aren't very good.
And I did not have one.
Right.
My leave
Because
is
otherwise
this.
you're gonna play young.
My leave is iron.
Yeah. So I was like even a little less worried. I'm like, well, he didn't have the Y.
Yeah, I mean, from my POV, there's a bunch of A's, and I'm trying to draw a Frisco bingo that you might not think of, but
I'm like,
you did
I'm
think
saving
of
the S.
Sure. Right, I just mean,
Right,
when you
yeah.
block this spot, maybe
Yeah.
I draw into something down low. Is the best plan I had, which I almost did. If "were" was a word, I would still have oriency here.
Yeah. Chinese word. Honestly, my opening rack was the only play I wasn't sure of.
Haji.
Kept I-ho-ho.
That's got to be
I thought Jihadi was too risky. Hioe sacrificed too much. Haja, just this the worst version.
I see. Yeah, Jihadi is very volatile. Yeah, you just get hammered off it a lot. Yeah, sure. God damn.
I don't know, but maybe I thought about playing QI here, but like, I could BANTE.
It's so many more points there. Points are important.
Yeah, and there's other spots to score. There's still this spot, which
sure.
I'm assuming you know the hook.
Yeah.
There's still this spot's huge. I'm thinking about still hitting this spot.
There's no need for you to sacrifice to play at the D of dihybrid.
I could have played QAT, but again, there's like a lot of eyes left.
True.
But still, I don't know. And
can't
also, then I
imagine
still have to worry about that lane.
I
It's
know,
not like this lane doesn't exist.
I was thinking about it. Yeah. Shit. Fuck. Crazy.
I don't know.
Doesn't seem like you heard. I just sucked out again, as I have been doing quite consistently.
Are you guys doing?
All right. Well, it sucks. And frankly, I've forgotten a lifetime worth of luck here so far.
All right. Well, I have a message saying I had another Q play, so I must have missed some.
Another Q play? How?
I don't know. What did I miss?
What do we want to?
Sure. I mean, I'm curious. What was the Q play?
Do you want to? Do you want to tell you or do you want to?
You can tell me. That's fine.
We are compelled not to speak.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't mind if I screwed up.
yeah, that's fine. I don't. What was the situation?
What was it?
Here? Law wasn't here.
So this was the situation.
Yes, you.
I missed a huge play, or
I don't know.
I had cabinet with a Q.
Cabinet Q.
Yeah.
BETNIQA.
What did I miss? I still don't see it.
Oh, like NIB.
Niqab.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. That would know even better right there.
Oh
All right.
shit.
Well, blue again. That's
It
fine.
was a.
Niqab for a bazillion. Oh,
That's
lucky.
really hard to see.
Yeah, I was looking for. I
Overlap,
went
too.
through all the Q-less U words, and just that one escaped me.
Yeah, as it does so often.
Oh my god.
Well, there you go.
Wow, lucky. All right.
Oh, Mr. Anderson. Somebody's having a
The luck is
well-deserved
just
tournament.
slowing so strong.
Multiple people.
According to Eldar, you're all.
Well, one of them's the commentator.
Yeah, I know. You said that already.
I think
Hey,
it's a
wait.
little early for that, but
It's
still,
early.
it's way early.
Matt Colton and Doug.
Obviously, it's incredibly early.
I mean, again, I'm playing at like 30%, 40%.
Yeah.
I'm
Right, not sleeping well.
no,
Just
I'm like
burnt.
peak burnout. I'm barely staying awake. I barely got out of bed on Thursday. So like, if I can play a game,
All
to
right,
make
we'll
one
cut
mistake,
away from
I'm
the
considering
overhead
that.
mic now. As Conrad now talking about personal life a little bit more, but yeah, the moment of suspense. He was texted about the play. I just said he missed a play, but others telling him he missed a Q play. What a wild game though, as Will Anderson stays on top. 12-0, very impressive run. Once again, folks, we are cutting away to lunch break. We will be back in 70 minutes. with more Scrabble play. So y'all get up, stretch your legs, walk around, grab some food. We will be back with more Scrabble. Thanks again to Shan for joining us this morning, and I'm excited to have Jeff this afternoon. Shan, say adios to the crowd.
Adios, crowd.
And with that, we're going to cut our coverage here. We'll be back in 70 minutes. Stay tuned, y'all.